Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Keep the faith.
This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
The golden age of America has only just begun.
Veterans will suffer.
It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before.
Friday night Pentagon purge.
President Trump has just fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Truly unprecedented.
We take good care of our veterans.
Veterans are being fired.
We've been betrayed.
Absolutely betrayed.
A slap in the face.
I feel laid down.
I feel like I'm not good enough.
We love our veterans.
The president referred to them as suckers and losers.
We're not losers. We're not suckers.
We care about veterans, but at the same time, we have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work.
We don't deserve to be treated like this.
Perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment.
These people are brave, patriotic Americans that go to work every single day.
We have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work.
I put myself in harm's way for the country.
Put our whole entire life into public service, and all of a sudden, one man comes in and throws it all away.
Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
If Elon Musk does what he wants to do, between 200 to 300,000 veterans are fired this year.
Any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately.
Veterans make up 30% of the federal workforce.
Combat veterans. It's your neighbors. We want to work hard. We want to help people.
These warriors who shed their blood.
The Department of Veterans Affairs dismissing more than 1,400 probationary workers.
Can you guarantee that veterans' benefits and care will not be affected by these cuts?
No, I can't guarantee anything.
I just feel like I've just been swept up in a dustpan and thrown out. I voted for Trump. A lot of us didn't deserve this.
Oh, no. It's finally, percolating to the top of the mug. You can see the cream of the crop is, being skimmed off, right? In favor of what? What? What do you think will replace the VA? Now, I mean, I know that I've been watching this attack on the Veterans Administration for a really long time and told you the other day that the records show that there were canceled VA contracts, and that included burial services for veterans. Do you remember that? And people were like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I said, this is true. It was in the Washington Post. The VA leadership was told through a guidance that 875 contracts as part of the government-wide effort to cut costs by Elon Musk, who, by the way, he's such a good engineer. He blew up another Starship yesterday. Did you see that? This one, it caused all the air traffic over Miami, to stop, Fort Lauderdale to stop, because of the debris that was falling out of the sky. I mean, it's very pretty, the debris, I have to say. It's, isn't it? It's really...
I was just about to say, or I was at least thinking to myself that it was really spectacular.
It is. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just, wow. I just, if I had to be a fan of Elon's, I would be a fan of his debris, the cosmic debris.
Can I see this administration blow up in such a spectacular fashion? Can I get that?
It's a Frank Zappa song. I just, everything with me is a song or a movie. But okay, cosmic debris is what it is. It's beautiful. What did you say?
I'm hoping the administration explodes in such a spectacular fashion, rains down upon the American people.
Well, it is raining down upon the American people, but in the same way. I mean, it's the result of a negative, effort. So Donald Trump is blowing up the government the same way that Elon Musk blew up another Starship. And I don't know how many, grants and loans and government, largesse we keep giving to the man who blows up one after the other, after the other, after the other of his crafts, his space crafts. I mean, if NASA was doing this, Bill Nelson would be called to the Oversight Committee. What's his name? James Comer and Marjorie Taylor Greene would be just excoriating him about, why do your rocket ships keep exploding, and how in the world are we supposed to be paying for this, Mr. Man? It didn't get out of the cock-a-doodle orbit. But if it's Elon that's doing it, it's like, no problem. Just give him another contract. Let him try again and again and again and again. And, oh, by the way, if anybody wants to investigate, the amount of cosmic debris and, make him actually tell you what he's doing about it, well, then we'll just disband that particular agency in the government. So, no oversight for you. But anyway, this is becoming a theme now. The thing that I think is starting to become apparent to people is that I wasn't kidding when I told you that the veterans were getting their burial contracts canceled, and that 875 other contracts that had a lot to do with medical, had a lot to do with, getting in to see a physician, professional services, right? Executive support, coaching, training, PTSD, counseling. They fired so many people. There's nobody manning are you ready for it? The suicide hotline. Can you imagine this? You're suicidal and you're on hold for what? What is the average wait time that we explored yesterday with, the day before with Social Security? 120 minutes to talk to somebody, and to process a claim was about a year. About a year for disability. So now there's nobody there to answer your call when you're literally at your wit's end, at your absolute worst emotional, state. There's nobody to talk to anymore. And, Donald Trump is very pleased with Elon Musk. He just thinks he's doing a wonderful job. And people are starting to say, wait a minute, what? The veterans, the VA?
Not the veterans.
Yes.
Not the VA.
Yes.
What is going on?
Yes.
Well, we said it before we went live here. This is some unique bull, right? I mean, it is outrageous, it is despicable, and it's predictable. We knew they were coming for the VA, and they've been working their way down the federal government. They started with generals, then they got to trans people. Now they've come for veterans. They're going to come for teachers. And veterans hold a very sacred space in this country. And I think what they're failing to appreciate is 83,000 people who are laid off are going to be 83,000 pissed off Americans who start protesting and start pushing back and start organizing. And really, I think what's going to happen here is the patriotic purge from the Pentagon to the FBI is going to become a very important core of the opposition, a patriotic, nonpartisan group of people who want to serve their country and think this is wrong, especially the way it's gone down. Right? It's one thing to fire people, but to fire 83,000 people who are, many of which are veterans, like you don't care, and to treat them so disrespectfully, that's where I think they're really crossing a line that's going to come back to bite them.
This would be, that's Paul Rykoff, who I've known for 20 years now. He's a wonderful human being. He's just an exceptionally good person. Back in the day when we were protesting against the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, he had the Iraq and Afghanistan vets against the war. That's how he started organizing back in the day. And he's seen it all the way through the end of the wars, and now cares for the veterans who actually showed up for those wars. Those veterans have an inordinate amount of PTSD. Those veterans have an inordinate amount of, traumatic brain injuries, things of that nature. And now, those veterans are me. You know what I mean? They're our age now. And, now they're going to cut them off at the knees, right? And tell them, no, there is no VA care for you. There's no cancer services. There's no doctors. There's no burial. There's no, all those benefits that we promised you. We're reneging. We're saying no. And the best that we could do is maybe we'll find a way. Hang on, everybody. To privatize it. And then if you can afford it, maybe you'll get some care. This is another, not a bug, but a feature of what is going on here today. What Donald Trump's wet dream for this country is everything is privatized. Everything is for profit. Everything is a deal. Everything is a negotiation. Everything.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
President starting to think about maybe some of those veterans who worked for the federal government and maybe what the administration can do to at least help salvage their lives?
Well, as you know, we care about veterans tremendously. I mean, that's something the president has always cared about. Anybody in blue, anybody that serves this country.
In blue.
But at the same time, we have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment or not willing to come to work. And we can't, I wouldn't take money from you and pay somebody and say, sorry, they're not going to come to work. It's just not acceptable.
Donald Trump paid you to lose cases because you were cute, I guess. I don't know. I saw you sitting there in New York where he was convicted of 84 felony counts, Alina. And now you're working at the White House taking government money to do what? Trash veterans? What are you doing? What is your job? Why are you there? I think we could, pare down the cost of at least one White House employee, her. Literally standing there saying some veterans just don't deserve VA benefits. Well, we just can't have them not come to work. We just can't. What is this? We can't have them. They're not fit to have a job. What is? This goes right up there with I like people who weren't captured. I don't understand why they do it. They're suckers and they're losers, sort of a wheelhouse that Donald Trump operates from when he looks at veterans. And of course, if God forbid you're an amputee, God forbid you lost a limb serving your country. It's very interesting because the guy who testified about what happened at Abbey Gate, where he was trying very hard to get somebody in the officer rank to because they saw the terrorists. They knew what was going to happen. And they tried to get permission from an officer to take a shot. And they couldn't get it. Well, the guy who testified, I believe he lost 3 limbs fighting, in Afghanistan. And he was the person who testified and dropped a dime on this story. And Donald Trump didn't want this guy or any guys or any girls. I'm sure he thinks Tammy Duckworth is just, impossible to look at. Impossible. He doesn't want any wounded warriors at his parades. He doesn't want any wounded warriors at his photo ops. He just doesn't think they should be seen, right? So this is the guy who, has absolutely no problem telling veterans we're reneging. Where we don't understand, why, you actually joined. But okay, thank you for your service. Now get lost. Is basically the message. I don't think he would say that. Do you? No, because I don't think he would thank them for their service. The get lost part, yeah, I'm pretty sure he would. Okay, loser. Get lost. Okay, sucker, you're SOL. Just trying to keep the alliteration to, make it sound pithy because, he likes a good soundbite. But I mean, honest to God, man, this is and let me explain to you why I think everything is on track to be privatized. Everything. I mean, from Medicare. I mean, some people have already experienced it with Medicare where, they have these commercials. Maybe you've seen one. Does it cost anything to call? No, just call up and give us your zip code. But don't I have Medicare coverage? No, you don't have. You need Medicare Part C. Medicare Part C. These commercials, call them. That's all to move you from traditional Medicare into a private Medicare Advantage plan. They let them call it Medicare, which I say is copyright infringement. Just, as somebody who has to be hyper alert to copyright infringement, I can't use anybody else's stuff because it would be wrong and I would actually get flagged for using somebody else's stuff. And therefore, I cannot unless it's part of the public domain, like news is usually public domain. But anyway, the fact that they have Medicare in their title, Medicare Advantage, sounds like it's traditional Medicare, but you know what? It's not. It's private insurance. And 98% of the time it's going to be an HMO. They're bringing that back. So what is an HMO? So an HMO is a managed organization. It's a managed group of health providers, meaning it's a small group of providers that are contracted with this payer, this private payer, the Medicare Advantage plan. Usually it's United Healthcare, just saying. And Dr. Oz, who's in charge of all this now, and isn't it interesting we don't hear anything about him? He has a huge investment in United Healthcare. And the most profitable part of United Healthcare is not the traditional Medicare supplements that AARP actually endorses. No, it's the Medicare Advantage Private Part C plans that are very, very profitable. See, we are of the mind here that if you pay for an insurance plan all the way through your working life, you should get that insurance plan, and nobody should scam you out of it, making you believe that you're getting a free gym membership just for, saying yes to this particular provider, when really what you're doing is giving up your insurance plan, Medicare, and you're now joining a private health insurance company that is going to require things of you that traditional Medicare does not. Like what, Rand? Well, like pre-authorization for an MRI or a CAT scan, or even an X-ray sometimes, or even seeing a physical therapist sometimes, or even going outside of the small group of doctors that are part of their managed health organization. Okay? And a lot of times they're going to deny your claim. And a lot of times they're going to say you had a pre-existing condition, which you can't do. Okay? You can't do in Medicare. So there's a whole lot of advantages to running it privately for profit. Now, what's really insidious about it, and most people, I don't know, I know people who don't get Medicare or who don't, they're not 65 yet, and or even 62, some people don't understand this part of it. But this is a real important part of it. The premium, okay, that is paid to the insurance plan, the regular traditional Medicare. Medicare is not free, and I think a lot of people think it is, but it's not. There's only a certain amount of coverage that you get, like 80% that you get from Medicare, and then the rest you have to make up yourself. And so there are these supplements. Most of them are not-for-profit Medicare supplements. Like I said, you can get confused because United Healthcare has a supplement that keeps you in traditional Medicare, but you're going to pay about $250 a month for it. And some people can't afford that premium because they're already on a fixed income. They're already on Social Security, and they only make $1,800, $2,000 a month for everything. And so they can't spend $250 on their healthcare, and they end up in Medicare Advantage plans. But you know what happens to the money that was paid to cover that person in traditional Medicare? It goes to the private insurance company. So the private health insurance company is getting the portion that is paid for your health care into their private coffers. This is now the better way to explain it to people who don't know this system because they're not involved in it is to look at vouchers for education, because most people understand what that scam is.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Yes, do it, because it's Free for All Friday is what it is. You can talk about anything you want. I happen to be trying to explain to my own damn self, like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is the real percolating plan, if they have a plan at all? What could it possibly look like? And of course, Project 2025 is what's unfolding before our very eyes. And so it was worth a little revisit to Project 2025's pages, all 900 of them. You don't really have to do that much reading if you don't want to, and find out, like, what is the underlying theme of the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. And of course, it's always business. It's always business. And what Project 2025 is looking to do is two things. It's trying to make a unitary executive, which it's been trying to do since W, okay? Cheney, this was Cheney's wet dream of a unitary executive being able to declare war anywhere he wanted to, anywhere in the world, anytime for anything, without having to go to Congress, okay? And that was the main thrust, of Cheney's desire to be an imperialist, crown. And you say to me, well, he wasn't ever president. No, he sort of kind of was. So, because George W. Bush was, we won't get fooled again. Fool me twice. Shame on me. We won't get fooled again. Okay, he was an idiot, is what it was. And his brother, I don't know if you remember Neil Bush, not Jeb. Jeb with the exclamation point. They were very into education. And not in a good way. They were trying to privatize it the whole entire time. So now you look at the Heritage Foundation and you see those same two themes just threaded through the whole disgusting instruction pamphlet for how to get from here to there. And from here, I mean, we have checks and balances so far. We have courts checking the legality of the president's actions. We have oversight in the House of Representatives supposedly checking the executive branch. You have a Senate that is, not a majority rule. It has a supermajority, part of it that you have to get 60 votes in order to pass anything in there, typically. And they're trying to, the Heritage Foundation would like to do away with all that rigmarole. They would like to do away with all that heavy lifting. They don't like the checks and balances. They don't like the three branches of government. Wouldn't it be so much easier, like one-stop shopping, if the president was like the Wal-Mart of power? Do you know what I mean? You just go to him and you just pay the price there, and then you're good to go. You could do everything from buy your vegetables from him to, starting a war with him. Right? You just go and it's one-stop shopping. And this was something the Heritage Foundation really was drooling about doing for a really long time. And they realized that what they had to do was take over the three branches, right? They had to, and the one they left for last was the presidency, because it changed every 4 years. Now, the House, they gerrymandered so badly. The maps were rigged, and the places where there were a lot of Democratic voters who could actually swing a swing district, well, they were carved out of it, and they were, kind of dispersed into red districts so that there would be the same number of them, but they would be dispersed into 3 different districts instead of 1 district, so that their power was never felt. Their power was never seen. Their power was never usable, right? So they did that, and the maps got real freaky, to the point where courts said, like, especially in North Carolina, no, this one, no, this was crazy. And then a long time ago, there was a story of a girl who was the daughter of one of the guys who actually back in the day was doing the gerrymandering and figuring out where everybody lived and carving up the districts. And her father died, and she got access to his documents, and she showed it to all of us. So we were, not crazy anymore. We said, oh, yeah, kind of, we knew that was going on, but now we see. Okay, so that went first, right? And then the courts came second. The courts went the House, the courts. And the Senate really, the Senate is rigged in this weird way. The Senate has, 2 senators for Wyoming that has less than 1 million total residents in the entire state. Two senators representing less than 1 million people. And California has 2 senators representing 44 million people. So you could see how that's already built into the, crazy equation of who gets power. All right. So then they moved on to the courts, and I think we were all present and alert for what went on in the courts. I think, Sheldon Whitehouse did an extraordinary job exposing the scheme and the pay to play and the vetting and the handing of the list to idiot presidents. And they have been looking for idiot presidents for a really long time, and they found one with W, and then they found one with Trump. They did. And they've been really excited to get Trump back, because they realized in Trump 1 where they dropped the ball, right? Oh, we should have done it right at the front. He's such a dork. He's such an idiot. He'll never, ever be able to figure out how to do what we want done. So we should have just, had 40,000 people just rush in, ready to go. And this is what Bannon was selling to his crowd. this is what a lot of the right-wing lunatic fringy people on the Rumbles and the Telegram, this is what they were selling. And they were selling it to you by appealing to your lowest common denominator, which is hatred, fear, and racism. And so you had a lot of podcasts deploying a lot of hatred, a lot of fear, and a lot of racism. And people were like, okay, you got veterans to vote against their own best interests. You got school teachers to vote against their own best interests. You got union members voting against their own best interests. Auto workers who are now being laid off yet again, voting for that. Farmers who were already had to be bailed out. I think it cost us something like $30 billion. I know it's at least 20, so I'll keep it low. It cost us at least $20 billion to pay farmers who lost their markets. Yes, their markets that it took them 10 years to build in places like China, okay, in places around the world. And Donald Trump literally cut them off at their knees and said, don't worry, I'll get you on the back, and sent them all checks. Now, Elon's cut a whopping total of $6 billion, he's firing 80,000, VA employees. He's firing, 83,000 veterans from the VA. 30% of the total workforce that works for the government are veteran, right? And he's just going around like firing everybody. And for the low, bargain basement price of $6 billion, we have just told ourselves we don't deserve any services at all. And yet we paid the farmers $20 billion. $6 billion saved by firing 83,000 people, and $6 billion saved there versus $20 billion out the door because Donald Trump screwed up the tariff thing with China, and China retaliated. And they retaliated against our agriculture industry. They retaliated against corn, soybean, pork, right? And the farmers lost their markets over there. And so which would you rather have? Would you rather have a VA that actually serves veterans, for veterans, by mostly veterans? Or would you rather have a savings of $6 billion, no VA, but then $20 billion going out the door because Trump's an idiot and blows the tariff scheme? See what I'm saying? This is just such an affront.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, so what is the point of the Heritage Project 2025? Well, we know what the first part is to have a unitary executive, one-stop shopping, no need to get legislators involved, no need to get a Senate involved, no need to get a supermajority, no need to get bills. He wants to spend money, let him spend money. He wants to, claw back money, let him, what do they call it, impound it. Let him impound the money. And we're one Supreme Court decision away from making Congress, totally toothless when it comes to spending money, which is the awesome, awesome power that Congress actually has, is the power of the purse. And if they transfer that over to the president, there's no need for Congress. And Congress is literally making themselves useless. I think they like it. I really do. The other portion of it is privatization. This has always been the wet dream of the stealing of the tax dollars that we spend in order to have services, in order to have a civilized society, in order to have firefighters and Social Security at the end of your working years, in order to have medical coverage at the end of your working years when you separate from a job and now you're in retirement, that you would be able to purchase. And I don't know why people think Medicare is free, but it ain't. It's not. They take out of your Social Security check the premium for Medicare. And then if you need a supplement, which almost everyone says, yeah, I do, because I can't cover 20% of a hospital stay. I can. It could be $100,000. Where am I getting this money? So you buy a supplement, but now they want to take you out of the traditional Medicare where you're paying a premium out of your Social Security check, but now it's going to a private health insurer like a United Healthcare. Like that. Now, they've been doing this with schools for a really long time, but schools are now the Department of Education. He was supposed to abolish it yesterday, and I guess somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, dude, we're not done yet with the Project 2025. You still need Congress to abolish a department. You still need them. They created it, only they can destroy it. Well, why can't I just leave like, Linda McMahon there and say it's still open for business? Well, you could try it. Okay, well, I haven't really talked about it enough. I need to sell this. I'm gonna. He talked about it a little today. He had some little dog and pony show in the Oval Office, which, by the way, he no longer gives it to the media live. He no longer gives it to CNN and MSNBC and ABC and NBC. No, they don't get it. They don't get it at all. Now influencers get the live feed only. That's new. That started today. It was really creepy. Here I am waiting because they're saying Donald Trump's going to do something from the Oval Office live at the top of the hour. I think it was 11 o'clock. And I'm like, okay. I'll get in the shower and I'll turn the TV. I have a little 13-incher. I hope you do too. It's Friday. In the bathroom. Nice. And anyway, they're like, oh, no, it's not happening. What's going on? Where is the feed? I don't understand. Oh, they're doing it live to tape. Live to tape. And so they weren't giving it to the news. The main news, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox, they didn't get it live. Very creepy. This is just all part of the plan to control everybody and what they see all the time. And if he screws up, you only see the best parts now. It's all edited. I think he's feeble. I think he's gone. I don't know. But why wouldn't they do it live? This is another thing in a project, and we'd have to start to figure out why that was. And it's brand new. I never saw it before today. But the privatization scheme, it's on, everybody. It's happening. It's full throttle, full steam ahead. And yes, that includes the veterans. And yes, it includes disabled veterans. And yes, it includes disabled children. What? Yep. Here's a little factoid for you. I don't know if you know this. 1970, okay? Before 1970, actually before 1979, when the Department of Education was created by Jimmy Carter. And why was it created by Jimmy Carter? It was created by Jimmy Carter because in 1970, only 1 in 5 disabled kids, no matter what their disability was able to attend public school. Only 1 in 5 kids with disabilities were enrolled in public school. If your parents didn't have money and you had a disability, a lot of times the school, especially rural schools, they couldn't accommodate all comers. They couldn't accommodate a kid that needed to be picked up, in a bus that could take a wheelchair. Do you know what I'm saying? They didn't have special ed teachers. That wasn't a thing. And so there was nobody there to educate your kid. And so only 1 in 5 disabled kids actually was able to go to school. So Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education, not to set curriculum. It still does not do that. It never did. People are just so ill-informed, let's say. What it did do was it created a civil rights division where all children that showed up at the schoolhouse door were promised to be educated. And it was backed up by the Department of Education. And money. 14% of public school money comes from the feds. That's what it is. And it gets even more money when you get to higher education. That's what the Department of Education is about. And of course, he needs to get rid of it, and they've wanted to get rid of it for a really long time. I mean, this is why the Bush family was very involved in education. I remember Neil Bush, he had this whole curriculum he wanted to sell to the school. It was called Ignite or Excite, also had an exclamation point at the end of it. It was a big, article of contention, and I was only a local radio broadcaster back then, and people here were livid. They were just beyond angry about this, okay? So that's who wanted to control the curriculum. It was never the Department of Education that had any control over it, no. But he wanted contracts with them, just like they want certain school books to be purchased, okay? But the Department of Education only sends out money. It doesn't do anything except guarantee civil rights and send out money so that especially special needs kids can be accommodated. That's kind of what the whole job is. Well, now you see Elon Musk routing around in all of the data at the Department of Education. And this is sending up a lot of smoke signals to people who give a damn about this thing, about the privatization, and are really, like on that wall looking for it because they know it's happened many, many times. Betsy DeVos wanted to privatize it, and now Linda McMahon is in there trying to make herself obsolete, right? But the sick part is that Elon's in there grabbing all the data of all the kids.
NBC News reports that two 22-year-old members of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency team have obtained administrator email accounts at the Department of Education. And the president says that DOJ is there to check the books. So is this a necessary investigation? Do you have any idea what their intentions are?
I don't think anyone has any idea what their intentions are, but everyone should be concerned about this because data is powerful. The Department of Education collects statistical data on all of our children that are enrolled in school, 49 million children.
Damn.
Civil rights information, the information that keeps our school buildings safe. I really don't understand, and I think the American public truly needs to understand what it is that the department does, because many of the concerns that I've heard around curriculum and what is taught in schools is not handled by the Department of Education. The Department of Education has responsibility, like I said, for 49 million children, 7 million of those who receive special education services, for all of our civil rights protections, for $1.6 trillion in student loan programs. I don't understand what they plan to do with this data, and the answers to those questions would come out in congressional oversight hearings. So I hope that the courts step in to enforce that we are separate but co-equal branches of government, and a department that was created by the Congress can only be dissolved by the Congress.
Okay, so you can see how it's all coming together for a privatization scheme. If Elon Musk is collecting all the data on all 49 million, especially special needs kids and the actual racial makeup of schools, et cetera, well, doesn't that make it just a breeze to send a voucher offer to mom and dad and say, your special needs kid is not going to have the kind of teachers that we used to have because the Department of Education isn't sending federal dollars anymore, and there's no civil rights backing, there's no enforcement of civil rights for your child to be even admitted to public schools. So wouldn't you like a voucher that you can use to send them to private school? Well, of course, the tuition's going to be a little bit more, and you'll have to, pay out of pocket for the little bit more, but at least your kid will get into a school.
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Keep the faith.
This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Trump signing an executive order, we've been talking about it, to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Mackenzie Segalis joins us now with more. We talked about it earlier, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but it was in the teleprompter, so it must be true. But it was disappointment about some details of the Bitcoin reserve caused Bitcoin to go down yesterday.
Yeah, the crypto market has been plunging since last night on that.
Do we know that it was because of what they said? Or, I mean, Bitcoin, moves 30% when, it does that in its sleep sometimes, over a period. Was there disappointment? If so, what was the disappointment?
The big expectation was that we would see some sort of Bitcoin purchasing plan in tandem with the announcement of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But the language in that executive order was very specific about it just meaning that we would hold on to what was already seized in criminal operations rather than roll out any sort of taxpayer dollars into a buying scheme.
Who wants that? No one wants taxpayer dollars going into buying.
Senator Lummis put forth a bill last year where you'd buy 1 million Bitcoin over the course of 5 years. You'd hold on to that for 20 years and periodically sell it off to pay down the, multi-trillion-dollar deficit.
Why? We've sold in the past when we've come across some Bitcoin one way or another. And we sold it when it would have bought a pizza, and now it would buy a building.
Well, and that goes to the larger thesis here. Some people are actually pleased to see that we would have this, strategy where the U.S. government would hold on to Bitcoin, because the benefit here, the argument is that it would be a hedge against inflation, because there's this capped supply of 21 million tokens. Right. And so if you have that backing up the U.S. dollar, it would protect against inflationary pressures that would hit other fiat currencies. There's also this idea that it would diversify what we already have in our national reserves, other assets like a gold that might be more sensitive to central bank policies. What I will say, though, Bitcoin moves on Fed decisions. When the rate is hiked or is cut, Bitcoin price responds.
Plus, governments around the world are not unanimous in believing Bitcoin is anything.
Governments around the world don't believe Bitcoin is anything of value. So how do you pay down the debt if China actually holds the debt and they won't accept Bitcoin? So you see, and the reason why he's trying to placate the tech bros, who literally billionaires own an inordinate amount of this fake money, with the hope and dream, like Elon's little spaceship just blew up again yesterday, but he wants to occupy Mars somehow. I mean, these are people that are high on ketamine. These are people that really, are good at one thing and no good at any other thing. And they're bullies, and they are trying very hard to buy themselves a government. And they, talked Donald Trump, who talked about Bitcoin being a giant scam for years, into saying, "Oh, it's a great grift. I'll do it. I'll sell memes. I'll sell meme coins. Melania can do it. We'll all do it. We'll all get it. And Junior will do it. Everybody will do it." But when it came crunch time, meaning you're going to use tax dollars to set up a Bitcoin reserve so that you can diversify the holdings of the United States of America out of cash and gold, you're now going to add memes? Sounds so stupid when you say it that way. He was like, "Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it." And then when it was time to do it, he said, "Well, like Sam Bankman-Fried and other people that, have been adjudicated guilty of various financial crimes, they were holding a lot of this Bitcoin on the blockchain." What? I know. And so we'll just take their stuff and we'll put it into Fort Knox alongside the gold, but we have to check and make sure the gold is really there. When they started talking about making sure the gold was really there, I got this very sad, very sick feeling that they were going to start taking the gold and replacing it with memes, with things ethereal. Let's call it Ethereum. Hey, I'm tripping. Hey, why not? It's not real, right? But instead, he just said, no, we're not going to use tax dollars to buy any of this swill. We're just going to take whatever, the criminals who have scammed off of, various people through the various Bitcoin scams, and we'll put it in there. We'll put it in there. And the market for Bitcoin tanked on that news because they realized there was no purchasing that was going to happen on the part of the U.S. government. So, a lot of this stuff is fake, and a lot of the stuff is fraud, and a lot of the stuff is grift, and a lot of the stuff is, an imaginary get-rich-quick scheme that Ralph Cramden could only dream of. Norton, what are you snorting? Ethereum, come on down. Seriously, I mean, it's just so crazy. But the other parts of the scheme are actually being deployed against us. And the other parts of the scheme are privatizing everything. And I'm talking about the United States Postal Service. This is, and I realize that, you'd need a constitutional amendment basically to do it if we had a constitutional government still in 3 more weeks. I don't know, I mean, it's all happening so fast. But obviously, they're privatizing Medicare. They've already started with Medicare Advantage. That's private insurance that is getting your premium that you're paying out of your Social Security check to the Medicare Trust Fund. And these private companies that are Medicare Advantage plans, that's private, they're getting that premium. They're getting it, but they're not getting any more than that. And they're offering you supplemental coverage to cover things Medicare doesn't pay for. How can they do that? How could they do that with a profit motive built in too? It's by denying you care. That's how. That's how they can do it. They deny you care. They say, oh, you need to see a specialist? Well, pay out of pocket because it's not in the network. Oh, you need to see, you need a CAT scan? Well, that's not covered. You can have like, one mammogram a year, but if you need a diagnostic because somebody found something or you need an ultrasound, we're not covering that. See what I mean? So they deny people care, and that's how they exist in the private sector with a profit margin built in to take the Medicare premium that is already automatically deducted from your Social Security. That's the scam, okay? That's what's going on. They're going to do it to public education, too. That's why they're getting rid of the Department of Education, which I hope I've drilled it into enough people that you can freely offer in any conversation that you might get involved in with a maggot. Okay, that the Department of Education does not have anything to do with curriculum. Nothing. It's just they oversee a $1 trillion marketplace of student loan debt. They want to privatize the IRS. Already AI has failed. Do you understand? So let me tell you a real quick story about AI and the IRS, right? So the IRS was talked into deploying AI, and seeing what it could do with regard to processing, claims, processing returns. And it ended up segregating out, you're going to be so shocked, black people, my black audience. They segregated out black filers and denied them child tax credits, homeowner deductions, like all kinds, and made you actually get on the phone and have to argue. And now they want to automate the whole system to help the process of denying claims. And that particular AI chat, it was a chat GPT Gov thing. It was doing it by race. Okay.
A whole new form of intelligence, and it's racist.
It's racist too. Yeah, the machines are going to be racist too. So there is no getting out of it. No, But of course, the whole privatization scheme involves the money that is set aside for your child, or the money that is set aside for your deductions. Okay, that goes into a private company, and to get it clawed back to you, you're going to have to go through some things. You're going to have to jump through some hoops, and you're going to have to do it with a machine. Hey, that sounds promising, huh? That's what I think this is.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right. So obviously, that's what Project 2025 is all about. It's about ripping you off. It's about stealing. It's about taking our tax dollars and giving it to private industry. And then for a low additional payment out of your pocket, maybe they'll let you see a doctor. Maybe you'll get your mail. Because the list in Project 2025 of agencies that need to be privatized is the Postal Service, the VA, which is already, you can see, Medicare, which we've already experienced, the Department of Education, which, by the way, there are families right now that get vouchers from their state to send their kids to private school. Now, the voucher money that those parents are getting is the cost of sending their kid to public school. And that required the Department of Education to be regulated to release that money to parents. And then the parents have to come out of pocket to send their kids to the school of their choice, right? A charter school or a private school, whatever. So you can see how that benefits people with money. And defunds the school for the other kids whose parents don't have money to supplement the voucher payment. Now, if you got rid of the Department of Education, everyone would get a voucher, and then you'd have to come out of pocket for the rest of it. Also, they want to privatize, this one just blows my mind, but the Weather Service. The FAA, Air Traffic Control, private. Now, TSA also, they want to, have Now, the reason why we have the Transportation Safety Administration, the people that make you take off your shoes because one guy, like 25 years ago, tried to set his sneaker on fire with, like some explosive built into his, sneaker. I don't know. We're still doing it. We're still doing it. And I think that's to, kind of groom us into believing that somehow safety is being addressed by the government because the TSA workers are government. They're government, it's a government agency. Well, they want to go back to the old-fashioned way where we had private security screening you. And the reason why we got away from private security screening you is because they did a really terrible job. Really, really bad. Why? Because they would offer somebody $2 an hour more if they carried a gun. Like that. I have experience with that. You work for, I don't know, the pressure of a name, let's just say that came to my head, Wackenhut. And, you work for you make $5 an hour. Now it would be $7.35 an hour. But if you'll carry a gun with no training, we'll give you another $5 an hour is what we'll do. That's kind of the quality of a deal that you get when you have private security at the airport. And that's why we decided to put that under Homeland Security and have a professional bunch of people screening our belongings and rifling through our panties in order to guarantee a safe and uneventful flight. How was your flight? Uneventful. Great. It's the text message you send at the end, right? Anyway, these are all the things that they want to privatize. This is now I'm guessing Fort Knox is somewhere in that mix too, that the whole debt of the United States, that needs to be in private hands too. And the Bitcoin people, they were hoping they would use our tax dollars to buy some of that stuff. And this, my friends, is where it is. And the idea that the veterans are the leading, they're the tip of the spear, meaning they are the most active of all the different agencies, okay? Veterans literally serve veterans. When veterans come home, and it doesn't have to be in a combat zone. It could be they got this great billet in Germany. I mean, that's the one I wanted. That's what I said. Oh, Germany! The day that when you get out of tech school, okay, when you get out of basic training, they tell you what you actually have qualified to get trained in, and then they tell you where your tech school is, and that's where you go, okay. And then after you finish tech school or your training for whatever it is that maybe you wanted to be a dog handler for the Sky Police, the SPs, or MPs if you're in the military, the Army, or maybe you wanted to be a crew chief in the Air Force, or whatever. And now you're finished with your airframe and power plant, and you could go get to. And I'm sitting there going, "Come on, Germany! Come on, Germany! New Jersey!" But I'm from there. It's where I was running away from. Well, it's a little bit different. You're from New York. We'll send you to New Jersey. How's that? That's not exactly seeing the world. But when people come back home from wherever, they tend to want to help other people in the same situation, and they know the situation. And so 30% of people who have served in the military, who now are out of the military, end up working for the United States government. 30% of the federal workforce are veterans. And you've been led to believe that somehow working for the federal government is a lesser job, or it's a lesser calling, or it's a lesser amount of genius that you need. And it isn't that. It's a greater amount of duty. It's a greater calling. It's a greater amount of service to your nation. Not less than. It's greater than. And he's trying to say only suckers and losers do that. Only, people who have absolutely no idea how to get out of it. That makes them dumb. It's really offensive. But anyway, the veterans are going to, there's no question in my mind. I've seen the ones that voted for Donald Trump already say, oh my God, they just threw us away. They threw us under the truck. They threw us under the bus. They threw us away. I feel like I've been, dismissed. I feel betrayed. Betrayed is a big word across our country right now. Wait till school teachers that do special ed. Oh my God. Wait till they find out that when the Department of Education gets privatized, that 100,000+, oh yeah, 100,000+ special ed teachers, they're going to be let go. They're going to be let go. So you're going to have veterans, you're going to have teachers, you're going to have the seniors are just going to be livid, okay? But some seniors are frail, and they can barely conduct their breakfast, let alone a protest. So we owe it to them. The younger Medicare recipients owe it to the older ones. But it's all going to be for profit. And when you say for profit, that means there's a built-in premium. That means the profit margin has to be met, right? And that means it's coming out of your pocket. And how does that lower your cost? Answer, it does not. It never will. And you'll still pay taxes. Yeah. So you're going to pay taxes. And by the way, his tax plan, the $5 trillion tax plan, yeah, the lower echelon actually has their taxes increased by just a little, but it is a tax increase. It's not till you get over 400,000 that you see the big, big money. And you get less. Where do I sign up?
Call in, connect.
Yeah.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All righty, let's see what you're talking about today. 6:34 after the hour. This is Steve in L.A. Didn't you call me yesterday?
I did. We got cut off. My phone dropped, but I had to call back.
Right, I said to call me back. But you didn't hear
yes,
that
you
because
did,
your phone
and
dropped,
of course,
right?
No, I saw it on TV. I saw it on TV.
I saw it on TV.
I watched it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Randi, I want to tell you, you packed a lot of information into that last hour and a half,
Yeah.
and all credit to you.
Thank you.
I'm sure you could go for another 2 hours. Easy.
Well, what I would like to do, see, what I try to accomplish here, believe it or not, is I know the producers are listening across the cable spectrum, let's just say, and I would love for them to take the mantle. I would love for them to take the baton of this privatization story, sit there and look at Project 2025 and give it to their hosts to dissect, because a lot of times what I talk about here happens on that show, those shows at night, that night, or a couple days later, and that's what I need to have happen.
Rachel will get into that kind of detail. CNN does not, for sure. I did want to ask you one thing. Did you happen to see the French senator?
Yes.
Claude Molleret?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
well, wait, for a lot of people who didn't see it, he actually went crazy. I mean, literally, he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of distinguished characteristics about him. And
a lot of gravitas.
Yes, gravitas. That's a great word. And he said something about America is now controlled by a, what did he call Trump?
Traitor.
A
traitor.
Yes.
Traitor. He said they're fighting a dictator who is now being supported by a traitor.
And
he called Trump Nero, and he said that ketamine-addled nut is wrecking civil society.
Say that again. Say that again, because that was an amazing quote.
Ketamine-addled
No, the whole thing.
Nut.
The whole thing, that we have a dictator who's being supported by a traitor.
A traitor.
Who is acting like Nero as Rome burns, and supported by a ketamine-addled what?
Nut. Yes.
Nut. Okay, great.
I think he called him a nut. Yeah, basically in French. So I guess what I'm trying to put together here is words matter. I'd love to see Democratic leadership use words like disgusting, racism, rabid greed. I mean, use the big, powerful words, not the price of eggs so much anymore.
I know.
We are losing the battle.
You want to know why? You want to know why I don't interview, like Democrats anymore? Because I used to do it for a good solid 10, 15 years, okay? And then I realized that all they're ever going to do is stick to their talking points, and I can't
problem.
I can't operate like that. I mean, I get very frustrated and angry at them, and I don't want to be angry at them because this is the Republicans' fault.
Right, we're fighting a demagogue who will use any type of hateful, disgusting, transphobic rhetoric. The Heritage Foundation hit the jackpot with that guy.
Yeah.
He'll lie about anything, use the most hateful rhetoric, and it works with veterans. I hate to say it. It works with the run-of-the-mill. Why are they voting against their interests? Because they like that powerful,
bully.
Strong versus.
They like a bully.
Consider the bully boys.
Yeah, they
do.
They do. I know, and they think it's
great show.
They think it's hyper masculine to be a bully, and you know what? It's cowardice to be a bully because you know what happens when you punch a bully? They run away with their tail between their legs. They run the wee all the way home.
100%.
So I know. We need a Democrat who will stand up to the bully. Well, I have a theory, thought. I have a thought about who that should be. Don't cringe in horror, okay? Just remember that this name that I'm about to drop on you is a person who came within a 1 percentage point of being the President of the United States. And why don't we talk about her? Why don't we talk about Kamala Harris? Why don't we talk about I know Hillary Clinton is probably, done. She has had her heart broken 87,692 times, and she retaliated against people like me that called her out for being this or that. I'll tell you, I don't even want to get into it, but she was picking off delegates. Okay, that pissed me off. But anyway, okay, so she's that ship has sailed, is what I'm saying, and she deserves to have her downtime and her. Time with her grandkids. But Kamala, she's fierce and she's still ready. Her and Walz, this was a tag team that you couldn't possibly do better than for the Democratic Party. She did use words like racist. She did tell you he's going to put a 20% tax on you. She told you about the tariffs. I don't know if I pulled it or not. I had it yesterday, but I'm not sure. Yes, I did. Here, listen.
I get all that right. So
no, that's that. Okay, this one's better.
Donald Trump should be here tonight to talk with you and
he
answer your
didn't even show
questions.
up.
He's not. He refused to come.
Yep.
But understand that part of his plan is to put in place a national sales tax of at least 20% on everyday goods and necessities. And that, by economist estimates, independent economists, would cost you as the American consumer and taxpayer an additional $4,000 a year.
And that was a very low estimate, okay? When she came, first of all, he was afraid to meet her. He wouldn't even go to, Anderson Cooper was moderating, a night with, the contenders, right? And he wouldn't even show up because he was afraid of her, because he's a coward.
Can I tell you my fear about Kamala real quick? My fear is that she lost a lot of voters in this country for all the wrong reasons that she cannot change. And I don't know how much of that will change.
So is it the woman or is it
Check. Go ahead.
Black Indian?
Check.
Okay. So we don't elect her.
That's what makes me afraid. That's all.
Well,
that she
I
lost
got news
some of
for
these
you.
votes for
I got
things
news for
she
you.
cannot do
I don't
anything
disagree
about.
with you. I don't disagree with you that America never elects a woman. I think that's like the most debilitating part of who she is, because Hillary was not a black Indian woman. She was a Irish white woman who lived in Arkansas and ran, was a very, another lawyer. I mean, Kamala's a lawyer too, prosecutor.
She ran a flawless campaign. Maybe a longer. She did.
Well,
Maybe a longer flawless
listen,
campaign
there's
might
a
help
lot.
her,
There's
but
a lot of dissection that could go on about how Biden should have been the transition president, which he said he was going to be. But apparently power is very It's an aphrodisiac. And at that age, any aphrodisiac that works, I wouldn't let go of either. So, I kind of get it. But she could be the spokesperson for our cause. When you talk about organizing, she knows exactly how. Exactly. And Tim Walz does too.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right. Rudy in Arizona.
Hello, Randi. Long-time listener to America Day. It's first time calling.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that feels great.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your show the entire hour and a half, and you covered so many topics. I can't pick one, but I want to just share some exciting news for you so you can enjoy your weekend.
Okay.
I saw Heart last night in concert in Phoenix.
No.
They're back on tour.
No.
Yes, I know. I'm one of your faves.
How is Anne? Is she okay?
Well, you know what happened to her?
Well, I know she had cancer.
Well, just a couple of days ago, she fell and broke some bones in her elbow.
Oh, no.
Yes, it was touch and go whether we're going to have a show or not, because as you know, it was already canceled for last year.
Yes, because she had cancer.
So her publicist came out and talked to us saying she was definitely not going to cancel the show. She'll be out on stage, but in a wheelchair because she can't really hold the mic.
Oh, my God.
So she did perform.
Oh, God, she sat in a chair and did her thing.
And nobody complained at all. Everybody was so happy to just enjoy the great music all night long.
Oh, I got chills. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yay.
Oh, I have to go. So was it great?
It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And she did a lot of covers, including David Bowie, one of my favorites, and Led Zeppelin, and lots of surprises. So
always Led Zeppelin.
She's going to be in your neck of the woods and later this summer, so you get a chance to catch her.
Oh, you're giving me chills, Rudy. I'm going.
Well, I knew you were a big fan, so I thought I'd share that with you.
I am probably. I'm like, I'm bizarrely a fan.
Yeah, it was because of your conversations about it inspired me to want to go see them. So I'm glad I did.
And I've never met them. I've never been backstage at any of their concerts, and I've been backstage. I've met almost everybody that you would wanted to have met from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, and I've never, ever met them. Never.
Well, maybe this could be the year.
I mean, I have the Heartmonger, club T-shirt. That's how bad it is. I do. I'm literally a member of their fan club. I really am.
Well, then reach out. I'm a member of fan clubs too, and it's been fun to follow your favorite artists. But to get a chance to meet them is even better.
Oh, it's so. Well, you know what? I will tell you this. There's a lot of artists that I've met that I wished I had not. Because some artists are much better, just in your fantasies than they are in real life. Don Henley, okay, just saying. And I have the biggest crush on him, and I love his music. And he literally retaliated against me, had me fired, the whole 9 yards.
No.
Oh yeah, but I still love his music. I'm just so sorry I ever met him.
Well, that's one story I've never heard, so you got to definitely talk about that one in the future.
I will one day. It was my fault.
I've been listening to you since America, so I didn't know about that one. That's a new one.
It was my fault. I was a little coke fiend. I was a little, 1980s DJ in New York at 23 years old, and I was working with a whole bunch of 40-year-old men, okay? And, I was 23. I was 23. I worked the overnights. Yes. 23, rock station, 40-year-old friends, and overnights. Cocaine. Hello. Well, it turns out Don Henley hates drugs. He really is a serious guy when it comes to being anti-drug. And I got out there on the stage, and I used the F word, and he went to Bill Scheer, who was the concert producer, the promoter, and said, I want her out of here. I want her out of here. And had me fired. So.
Oh, my God.
I deserved it. I did.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
it must have
I
been
agree with
something
you.
that
I did not. It
did.
was the 80s.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, everybody did the F word and did the cocaine, so I think you're fine there.
Don.
Well, one of the highlights of the show was before it started, they did a reel of everything that happened between their first year of performing to today.
Oh, wow.
Showing a year clip of different people, of big events. And, of course, in 2008, popped up a picture of King Elon, and everybody booed like crazy, so that was fun. That was a big highlight with a big booth.
Well, that's great. I'm
So-
glad you got to go and see a Heart show. I mean, it's just wow. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous.
Well, you need to see them in June.
I will.
I mean, when they're going to be in your side of the woods.
I will.
I just wanted to share that with you to cheer you up because it's been a crazy week.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It did cheer me up. Thank you.
Sure. Bye.
Bye. Yes. Yeah. Oh, so she fell and broke an elbow. But, I'm going to blame her husband. I don't know why.
Shots fired. Wow.
Shots fired.
Okay.
Dean. I don't know. I don't know any of them. Okay. I have no idea. I have no earthly idea. I just know. I don't know. I mean, long time ago, there was like a tabloid story about the sisters got into it because Anne's husband had said something not kosher, just saying. And then they didn't speak to each other for a really long time, thereby depriving me of a tour for many years. You know what I mean? And I just blame him for everything that happens bad. I just do. Name's Dean. Okay, Sharon in North Carolina.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
I'm a first-time caller.
Hey.
I have been watching you ever since you got on Free Speech TV. I heard about Stephanie Miller was talking about you, and I said, I've got to watch that program.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's very nice.
Anyway, you are absolutely right about this scam that Medicare Advantage is. I'm not on Medicare Advantage.
Good.
I won't get on it. But my rheumatologist told me, whatever you do, stay with regular Medicare, because if you got a Medicare Advantage, I won't be able to help you anymore.
That's right.
I've been getting these awesome treatments with a biologic for my psoriatic arthritis, and it's made a world of difference to me.
Is it Otezla?
No, it's not that.
Do you know what it is?
Oh, yes. It's called Pony.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Howard has it, so that's why I'm asking.
Yes, that's I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is the only thing.
Didn't work for him, but he's tried them all.
Well, this is they started off with the methotrexate, and all that was just doing was damaging my liver.
Right.
And so they started on this, and it's like within a month or so, I was noticeable.
That's great. I'm so thrilled because it's so
Yes.
painful and it's so
Because
debilitating.
it's really expensive to have the
Yeah,
the premiums, between the supplement and the Medicare. I pay $479 a month.
Yeah,
and that's out of a check of $1,800 a month from Social Security. My only income.
Yeah, I
But
hear
it's
you.
worth it.
I hear you, honey. I really, really do. And I get that there are people that just don't want to pay the supplement, and so they think
Well,
they're
I
going to.
think it's worth it to pay for it, to get the treatment, because it makes a world of difference.
But that's what
it
it's
makes my
for.
life so much better.
That's what health insurance is supposed to be about. It's
I
not,
know it.
Right? But it's become a profit center, and it's very sad.
Yes.
I know. Well, I'm so glad you're getting relief, honestly, because I know how debilitating that condition is.
I know. It's like I'm going to end up in the nursing home unless they can do something.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, great.
Yeah.
That's great news. I'm happy for you, and I'm sorry about your premium and your supplemental premium. And yes, she's right. It's about $500 a month. I don't know why people think Medicare is free. I don't know.
I know.
I know.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. Well, thanks for calling me, Sharon. Have a great weekend. And
Okay, you too.
Enjoy your mobility.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Take care. Yeah, I mean, these are good stories, and obviously, her rheumatologist who's handling, an arthritic condition, psoriatic arthritis, just one of a whole host of arthritis conditions that people suffer from, and it's super freaking painful. And he wouldn't be able to take her as a patient, and he wouldn't be able to put her on all these, biologics, because you have to do entry level, like when she said methotrexate, you have to start there. You have to start there because we have a crazy, crazy pharmaceutical system, okay? You have to start on this, and you have to try that for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks to prove it's not going to work and waste your time and put you in pain for another 8 weeks. And then maybe they'll be able to move you up to this one. And if you try this one, that's going to cost you what, like $3,600 a month. But then you could go to a specialty pharmacy. Swear to God, this is so crazy. You have these med managers that are now, specialty pharmacy, and you could get the drug for free. for free from them, the whole system's broken. And instead of fixing it with single payer health care for everybody, they're going to hive off the old people and put them in a for-profit system where you can't go to anybody for anything. And, the pharmaceuticals aren't covered. And if they are, it's going to be like 10 drugs that are, out of patent that, that all have generics. These new biologics that they're coming out, all these TV commercials you see, that's what they are. That's what they're for. Ask your doctor if Humira is right for you. These are all they're all arthritis medicines, all of them. All to stop inflammation, which is super, super painful. But anyway, I think we're going to get organized. I really do believe it. And this is the message to the producers that do listen, and I know that you do. Get it on your air. This is how we organize.